But this one's kind of back to that sort of aggression, anger that put the band on the map.
I personally think that this record is the most complete Disturbed to date.
It's a good place to be. It feels good. This record feels good.
That's right, kids. Day one, and boy, did I miss being on camera every second of the day. I can't wait.
Going back to work. Album number 4. Here we go.
I don't even know where my bases are. Hopefully they made it. Otherwise, I'm gonna hum my parts.
That's right. That's how we do in the land of Disturbed.
Mike, Riker, now. Fuck. Want to be able to pay for that phone bill? You gotta make a record.
As soon as we got off the road, Music as a Weapon 3 took a short little break, maybe a month or two, and then Danny and Mike went right to it.
We're always tossing around riffs and beats, but it isn't really until we get home and we are able to clear our minds, decompress for a little bit, and then hit it, especially Danny and I, and just start throwing the riffs and the beats out, that the music starts to finally come to life.
The writing process is pretty much the same since the beginning, the start of this band. It's always been riffs, something musically that I'll come up with.
Danny will always have a million riff ideas.
If I'm on my own, I'll just write a few riffs here and there, and I'll record them and I'll put them off to the side and know that we at least have a starting point when we come off the road and it's time to really hit it.
And he may not go back to it among his other 200 riff ideas for another month, year, whatever.
We're on the road, we're touring, and then when we're home, we're writing and recording. It's like we're very mode orientated, but we're always thinking about everything else that's going on. Even when we take time off, that just means that I don't necessarily have drumsticks in my hand that day, but I'm always thinking about parts and beats, and I know Danny's always playing the guitar.
And the best thing that's always worked for me was to always do it while I'm at home, and just to be able to come downstairs and sit in the other room and just jam on the guitar and come up with riffs. I have a little Roland V-drum kit at my house, and Mikey has one at his house, and I got a Pro Tools setup, and we have basically identical setups at home, so it's pretty easy and it's all compatible.
And once we have the structure of pretty much a complete song musically, we'll burn it to a CD, we'll send it over to David, and then we'll just wait to hear from him until he has a melody line.
We've been pretty fortunate that a majority of the stuff that we throw at David, he's been able to write to.
Just spoken word, kind of free flow in there. Have you maybe throw some tasty, spacey licks through there, but for half as long as you have it now. I think it was April. I got the first bunch of material from Danny. First I put it in the car, and I only let myself listen to like the first 30 seconds of it, just to kind of feel the riffage, to see if it was like, you know, what I'm used to. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. I didn't want to Jones on it too much in the car, because I kind of get crazy about the music when I first get it. I'm not following the rhythm of the guitar hits the same way I was before. It's more distinct. I want to show you. Let's go. Okay. Just spent about like 16, 20 hours that first day just obsessing over the first 3 songs. Hours.
We want to make sure it's going to inspire David, because melodically and you know, vocally, all depends on what the music does to him when he hears it. I know the first song that was written musically was The Night, and as soon as he heard that, he had something relatively quick.
It was at the end of that 3rd day that I finished The Night.
So this is the first song that was written musically for this album, for Indestructible.
I remember calling Danny, I'm like, dude, this is amazing. This shit is good, really good.
I remember David calling me up on the phone and just freaking out on how it triggered something right away for him.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's exactly the direction we want to go.
That was one of the songs that started his flow of lyric writing, and he originally wanted to call the record The Night.
I know I was originally thinking The Night, but that was obviously before the title came through of number 3. Lyrically, it's just kind of meant to portray the night almost as like a living entity that sets you free. You're enveloped by it and masked by it. Mike, you will make a suggestion for me on a harmony that's way in the upper range of ultra falsetto that only, you know, dogs and bats can hear, and I'll go ahead and make a suggestion to him on a drum beat that requires a 3rd arm or something like that.
why we should support stem cell research, because then you can grow like a higher node, a higher chord. I can grow a third, well maybe a fourth leg.
There you go.
And you can grow a couple more extra fingers. You know what I'm saying?
With fists, it took a little bit more time for me to get to where I was comfortable with this. The instrumentation was so cool and so dark and textural that I right away kind of jumped into it.
And there's been actually a lot of times on the road where we may have like, you know, maybe not a full song, but there's a drum beat or there's maybe a riff of some kind.
The Night was actually one of the riffs that Dan was working on when we were still on the road. We were backstage and he's playing this. I knew somebody was going to work on for the record, but I remember hearing him play it by himself and I'm like, how the heck's that going to be a song? Because all I heard was that riff. When I got the demo sent to me and I heard it, I'm like, there's that riff. I knew I was going to hear that thing.
The Night was one that definitely stuck out because I probably played that a little bit more often in the dressing room than some of the others.
And today we're doing bass tracks. And so it helps to have a full set of strings.
I'm only playing, you know.
When I sent him the material to throw down some bass to, I knew that he would recognize that riff.
On this last record, we had John come in, add his 2 cents with the bass lines.
Between this last record and the record before, it's been about 3.5 years since I first got into the band.
I want a snakeskin amp.
And I was here every day of the studio process for the making of the 10,000 Fists record, even though I was still living back in Austin. This album cycle was different.
I'm going home on maternity leave.
You know, my wife was pregnant at home, so I had to be home more with her.
Time out, Mikey. Don't be a daddy.
Yeah, I will, but
You know, we tried to give John time to be home back in Texas with his wife while she was pregnant.
Danny gave me some fatherly advice. He said, take a nap on the plane because that's the last sleep that you're ever going to get.
So I was home, worked on the bass lines in my own home studio, and even though Danny and Mikey were still working together, what they did was they sent me MP3s of the demos.
And I've sent him the material and gave him the stuff to kind of vibe off of and work on.
I probably wrote 4 completely different bass lines to each song, and then I'd sit on it for a day or two, and then I'd go back and I'd listen to them, and I'd be like, okay, that's the one I'm going to keep.
He was able to lay down some really cool ideas and just, send them back to me.
So I think one of the biggest changes that happens is a trust factor and a comfort factor with the band and myself, because they trusted me to work hard on the bass lines without them being there working with me on them or making sure, that I'm hitting all the right notes or whatever.
I guess that's the beauty of technology, us being here in the south suburbs of Chicago and him being in Texas and be able to, actually put together an album that way.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you, Papa John. Well, first of all, what'd you do a couple days ago?
Cut my baby's cord.
What are you gonna do today?
I'm gonna cut some bass tracks.
That's right, yeah! You got keys?
What's up, Danny?
Hey, what's up?
Congrats, man.
Thank you. Has his baby delivered just over 24 hours ago. What does he do? He flies in, here to track bass.
We're gonna try and catch up to where these guys are at now.
Yeah.
So.
That'd be cool.
Alright.
It was just coming together quick. I think we were all in the same mindset of what we wanted to try to achieve. But ultimately, even when we discuss it, it still really depends on when we get in the room together and start just jamming and working on it.